What is the first thing that comes to your mind when you hear about the word India?
Ramayana.
Oh wow!
Because that's the first book I read.
So, do you know anything about Indian culture, like food, movies, any religion, cricket, movies? Have you heard of any?
I really enjoyed Bahubali. I still need to go for
Oh.
Bahubali too. But amazing movie because I was to 2 out of 3 sacred Shiva places.
Wow!
The Shiva temple in Kathmandu, and then we actually trekked to the Shiva lake. And I see, yeah, and I was surprised to see this on your finger because
I am a devotee of Mahadev or Shiv. So I am a big fan of Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj.
thank you
This
so
is
much.
a painting of Shivaji Maharaj done by Raja Ravi Verma. Har Har Mahadev
Har Har Mahadev,
and Jai Shivaji Jai Bhavani.
Jai Shivaji, Jai Bhavani.
Perfect. Welcome to my first series of this wonderful interviews that I'm starting. The guest of honor for today's interview is Vlad. Vlad is the CEO of Red Track, happens to be my boss as well, and I'm really grateful to him to have agreed to do this first interview for my series. So thanks a lot, Vlad, and welcome to what I'm trying to do.
Yeah, thank you. So honestly, I always question the term boss. I know you like it, but for me, my job is always to support people. So I just couldn't say
Thank
no
you.
to support you in your interviews,
I
and
know.
that's the first step. So let's go.
Thanks a lot. Okay, so we'll keep it short, nothing serious. This is just trying to understand what world is all about, what he has done, what he is currently doing, how the culture is different from my culture, that is Indian culture, and how we can exchange things and how we can probably help learn things or provide some items to the world as well. So, Wald, let's start. So,
Okay.
tell me about yourself. Where are you? Where did you grew up? How was the childhood? What kind of life, education you had? Everything.
I was born to Cherkasy. That's a city on the bank of Dnipro in Ukraine, south of Kiev.
Okay.
It was a fairly small city for many years, but by the mid-life of the Soviet Union, it became a chemical industry stuff, so it started to grow up, which in the 90s, when it was the collapse of Soviet Union, the burn of independent states, also caused quite an internal shift towards of social scene. So I
Okay.
have seen things,
Okay.
although managed to go through all my teen years without actually being part of those bad things like you might see in the movies about the 90s.
Okay.
The best part about my kids' years was we were rather exposed to good and bad things of life. So
Okay.
we had little things granted. We had to earn a lot of things that we have. I was lucky to go to a very good school.
Okay. Wow.
And it was the only school with the Ukrainian language in Ukraine, in my native city. And it was the only school which learned English from the first grade.
Oh wow.
So basically, and that's where I think I learned the first thing, the importance of the education. What you get as a kid in terms of education, those values, they stay with you, they carry on further, and they help you. So I'm very grateful to my parents who got me to
Okay.
that school, and to all the teachers who got me through all the school
Great,
years and all the
absolutely.
experience I had.
What kind of sports did you play when you were growing up as a kid? What were the favorite sports?
Well, so first of all, as a kid, I all the time went first to wrestling, then to kickboxing, then to. It's only like when I was close to 40, I realized one, my parents never supported me to get to the same section more than one school year. Like I said, it was 90s. If you go to the combat sports for a little longer than a year, you start to be a little bit better than the amateurs, and then the gang start to look at you and try to recruit you. So that's why I never got any good in those sports, because my parents never supported me going for more than 1 year. But
Good
also
they stopped you, otherwise you would have been a gangster by now.
no, I wouldn't be. I probably would be dead by now.
That's true
But
as well.
I did arts as well. I did chess. As for sports, everybody around played football.
Okay.
Our school never had a big enough field for football, so we played basketball.
Ah.
And when a kid, I was a big NBA fan.
Who was your favorite player?
Maxi Box.
Ah, okay.
Because he had to really work his way
I know.
in his physics towards all the great guys who was playing around that time.
Perfect. Perfect. And what kind of food did you enjoy growing up?
Well, a lot of food that we had was the food we did ourselves. So the problem, the still most food that we had often was fried potatoes, or these potatoes or that potatoes in all the
Types of
combinations.
potatoes.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the delicacy was, it's a very specific one. It was sunflower oil, non-raffinated. You put a bit of salt on top, and then you dip the bread and eat it. So it was a delicacy at the times.
Okay. Okay. And so, did you watch any movies growing up? What was your favorite movie back then?
We had movies, and it was fun time. With cable TV was just appearing in our place. So when they started was showing all those what's called kung fu movies.
Ah,
So
okay.
that was my kind of start to like all the different types of kung fu movies. Of course, Jackie Chan, but
Bruce
then,
Lee?
no, Bruce Lee was later. I mean,
Okay.
his kung fu movies was different sort. And then of course there was the action movies. And I mean, Schwarzenegger with his Terminator, with all the other movies. I have posters like every other kid all across the world with
Yeah.
his movies. So that's why my movies as a kid.
Okay. So let's move to the career part of it. So how did you? What did you study first, and then what was your first job like?
So my first actual job, because I did a lot of things as a kid to earn money, a lot, like from selling some plants to this and that stuff. But let's talk about the job. It is a good story because it also shows about the times we're going through. So around first grade in the university, I was going to Kyiv-Mohyla University, and I was going for the degree in sociology.
Okay.
There was a group of guys who would hitchhike Europe.
Okay.
I needed some cash to go through this hitchhiking ride to Austria in winter. So I came to my parents, hey, Father, can you please give me some money? I said, yes, of course. But I can only give you half of what you need.
Okay.
I said, like, half is not enough. Because the minimum I need is just to have food for all this. I said, okay, that's what you can get. Earn it. And I went probably through the like 10 or 15 interviews. I was a full-time student, first grade. It was 1997 already.
Okay.
So it wasn't that easy. Eventually, everybody in our local university, like recruiting department, knew me. So in the end, in summer, the head of this team stops me, say, Vlad, you've been 2 years, yes? I said, no. Okay, you've been to UK. I said, well, 2 weeks. But you know English. I said, yes, I know English, because that was my school. So what happened is that I was invited to the interview for the position of evening receptionist in Ernst Young.
Okay.
It was like a dream job for the student. I would say I never knew that, but I realized it later. And there were 18 other people.
Okay.
So in the end, I got the job.
Oh wow.
And I was the youngest. And they looked specifically for the boy because in reception starts at like 6:30, ends up around 9. It was 9. It's not the best time to walk around in the night for girls. So, and when I got this job, I said, hey, why I was the person to get the job? Like I don't seem like the best candidate.
Yeah.
And my recruitment manager, Marina Lvovna, I still remember the name and last name, said, you was the only candidate of 6 people who was not telling us bullshit about working for a major company. So I came to you to earn money.
Honesty is the best policy, you see.
I was just, because I came there to earn money to get to the trip.
Yeah.
I never went to the trip because I spent next 4 years actually working for Ernst Young until the end of my bachelor degree. And then I made and sometime during this tenure, I had access to the internet, 1997. I mean, it wasn't that
Easy to get internet.
I had there. And sometime at the moment, I stuck into the concept of digital marketing.
Oh, okay.
And I fell in love with that. I mean, I said, this is what I want to do. So I spent 2 years just printing out all the articles, materials, building my own digital marketing textbooks, studying it. And then I decided to get a job in digital marketing. So year 2000, I'm quitting Big Five. It was Big Five at the times with huge career opportunities. I was offered promotion because I finally could work full time, etc., and go for the digital media startup in internet.
Okay.
Like Eric said, Vlad, it's well, we respect your decision, but it's not what people do. They don't quit Ernst Young for
I
what
know.
internet startup?
Yeah, it's still a big name, Ernst and Young, right?
It's still,
Yeah.
but at that time it was like
The
night and
biggest one.
day. It's like was guaranteed career, everything,
Yeah.
huge salary, etc., etc. I went for digital startups, and probably I never looked back. So that move got me to the point we are now. Follow your dream.
Perfect. That's amazing. What about Red Track? So, how did Red Track happen, or what was the vision or dream that led you to formulate Red Track?
And that's interesting. It carries on through that decision to go for digital marketing startups.
Okay.
I mean, it's the part of the journey because I spent time working for several media startups, wrote a book about digital marketing, eventually I launched my own first business. We're doing website, we're doing some printing, we're doing some consulting. By 2003, I realized that I kind of cannot put all my knowledge that I accumulated on first business. We're doing website, we're doing some printing, we're doing some consulting. By 2003, I realized that I kind of cannot put all my knowledge that I accumulated by reading stuff to practice, to test this knowledge in
Okay.
Ukraine. So I went to work for a Boston-based SaaS company
Okay.
in a marketing team, eventually heading this marketing team, and we were doing paid ads. We scaled that company. It's now called Form.com. Before it was Key Survey, then Rolled Up, then Form.com. We scaled it through paid ads for SaaS business to like from $500,000 when I joined to around 10 million Aurora when I left.
Ah, okay. That's amazing.
Nobody believed us that we're doing paid ads only. It was considered like impossible, and this was 2004, 5, 6. Like we would come to an event. How do you acquire clients? We have inbound paid ads, hot leads.
What's that?
They say it's impossible. I say, well, it is. And at that times, we were doing this because we had very good analytics. We even tried to build our own analytical tool. I was kind of project manager for that. We failed because there was no technology. But the idea the digital media buyers want that tool that actually will shed the light into that black box of what happens between the current clicks and then converts, especially in SaaS business, where the steps are multitude, eventually led me to Red Track. And that's all our goal is to help media buyers make informed decisions, and now with automation actually remove the repeatedness of things they don't have to do.
Yeah, basically making their lives easy, yeah, and making it more fun.
More creative and more fun, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so what are the values that you believe are necessary for any young entrepreneur today? What are the values that one should have or possess that make you successful in your business?
Well, all people are unique. So I think it's not about the values, because different people will have different values. I would say more about approach. First, and I mean, I will repeat obvious things, like everybody says the same, but it's still, you need to actually dream big.
Okay.
Because if you set yourself small goals, you set yourself a ceiling.
Agreed.
If you dream big, you don't set yourself a ceiling. So don't be afraid to dream big. But also, another thing is that besides dreaming, you need to put a lot of work in.
Okay.
And be ready to see failures. It's easy to tell, yeah, it's good. I've seen multiple failures. Like I have startups that failed.
Okay.
I've burnt my savings to the startup that failed. So it happens. But again, if you dream big, if you have that vision, if you know why you're doing that, it gives you the power to carry on. So dream big, work hard.
Okay.
Another thing that I learned from my Boston-based Cal Brown, I will always remember him for many things, but for this phrase in particular, is he always told me that there is a vision and then there is a plan. I said, what's the difference? He said, you know what? I want to go by car from Boston to New York. I know where I'm getting.
Yes.
That's the vision.
Correct.
but then it's night. My headlights in my car, they show just like probably 400 meters
Yeah,
at a
visibility.
moment. That's the plan. You have a vision, you have a plan for what you can actually see and accomplish. You take the distance, then you have another step. So have that big vision, work hard, plan for what you can see.
Yeah, yeah,
Because this, what you can see, actually gives you the sense of progress and accomplishment without reaching that grand goal. You
correct.
make that 400 meters, 400
Step
meters,
by steps towards your success. Yeah.
just work your way through it as far as you can and don't stop.
Okay, okay, great. Next is the round that I called as Round India. Basically, what is the first thing that comes to your mind when you hear about the word India?
Well, this is a tricky question because I would say Ramayana.
Oh
Because
wow!
that's the first book I read that kind of exposed me to Indian culture. Of course, it was translation. Of course, it was adopted for kids. But then I learned about Ramayana. I learned about parts of the history, Hanuman, Rama, Rakshasi, and
Man.
like I started to read more.
I never knew you actually read those books because those are the foundations of Hindu religion. You know, Ramayana is something that is valued a lot across the country. I think everyone in India, irrespective of the religion, have some knowledge of it because we have lots of material content on TV available. Even everything in our politics today revolves around Ramayana. We recently, in fact, built the Ram temple in Ayodhya. So it's really, really pleasing for me as an Indian to know that you already know of it. So thanks for sharing. And next thing that I would like to ask is, you have been to India, right?
Yes.
So how was the experience?
I would say it was a very limited experience because, first of all, it was a 2-day event. I had a tight schedule, and it was in Gurgaon. And
okay.
everything I saw was getting from airport to the hotel, and then
Okay.
getting from hotel to another hotel where I had the event.
So you haven't explored India?
Yes,
so,
I haven't
okay, you have
explored
just
India,
been there.
so it, but
Okay.
I've seen people crossing 12-line interstate by foot. That was either brave or stupid or both at the same time. It's like I stopped
You know,
by.
the best part of India is everything looks chaotic, but it's a symphony. Everything still works, and it's an example for every other country which has everything disciplined out there. In India, you won't see the discipline, but it's a discipline in its own way because everything works fine. We have
works.
1.4 billion in population. Still, the country functions amazingly well without any major issues. So that's an accomplishment.
I give you credit for that accomplishment.
So, do you know anything about Indian culture, like food, movies, any religion, cricket, movies? Have you heard of anything?
Well, first, cricket is a team game, so it's not my part.
Okay.
And of course, besides it was Ramayana, so I spent my part reading to a lot of other, let's say, mythology. Because for you, it's a religion. For me, at that time, it was more like mythology, but I read a lot about it.
Okay.
So, movies, like, I was born to Soviet Union. It was only like Soviet movies or Indian movies.
Okay.
So I've seen myself in the movies being a kid. Growing up, I actually really enjoyed Bahubali. I still need to go for Bahubali too. But amazing movie. I mean, for somebody who is used to Western movies, they don't get it. It's not about being accurate. It's about actually telling the story through all this exaggeration. So for me, it's a very
Bahubali was one of the biggest hits India has.
amazing movie.
You should watch movies like KGF, Animal. Those are the new ones which are like taking the action to the next level. I personally love them.
So another thing, I like bread in all cultures. For me, I like Indian bread.
Roti.
Well, I like more about naan.
Naan, okay.
Okay, and surprisingly, but the biggest surprise was for me when I was traveling in Africa. It's a long story. I'll just cut short. We stopped in like roadside cafe for truck drivers getting local food, rice and chapati. And I was thinking, like, chapati here in Africa? How come? And then I learned nothing about culture because of Sipahi building the roads under the British Empire in Africa.
Lots of people moving there. Yeah, correct. Okay, great to know that. Next, I would want to know about is your knowledge of Indian culture. I know you are a big fan of art, books, and all that. Have apart from Ramayana, have you heard of any other book or anything else art wise?
Well, art-wise, for me, is limited because of the art I saw was usually in the TV screens.
Right, right.
And I do know about the Varanasi city, where it's a beautiful city, a lot of art, like temples, like a lot
Yeah.
of temples there. For me, the biggest exposure to, I can say Indian, not Indian culture, happened was in Nepal,
Okay.
because I was to 2 out of 3 sacred Shiva places,
Wow.
the Shiva temple in Kathmandu, and then we actually trekked to the Shiva lake, and I see, yeah, and I was surprised to see this on your finger because
I am a devotee of Mahadev or Shiv. Shiv, people call Shiva. Shiv is Shiva basically. So that is even heartening to know that you already know of Shiva Mahadev. And because I knew that you already kind of know a bit about Shiva and you also have a linga at your
I
desk.
told you yesterday, yeah, I have
exactly.
a Linga yeah, at home.
Perfect. You know what? I've got something for you from India. I know you love art. So I've got a painting from India by a painter called as Raja Ravi Verma. It's a copy of the original
Thank you.
painting, basically. The person he actually painted is an inspiration, is a patriot. He is someone who is considered the greatest king India has ever produced, someone who has actually saved the religion. Lots and lots to talk about him. So this is what I've got for you, Val.
Thank you
This
so
is
much.
a painting of Shivaji Maharaj done by Raja Ravi Verma. And I wanted to, so I am a big fan of Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj. I always wanted to work on his ethics, values, and I would want to spread it across. So that's the reason I want to share it with you. He himself was a devotee of Shiva, Mahadev. So maybe you can repeat it after me.
I will try.
It says Har Har Mahadev
Har Har Mahadev,
and Jai Shivaji, Jai Bhavani.
Jai Shivaji, Jai Bhavani.
Perfect. Thanks a lot, Val. And it was amazing talking to you. And I wish you all the luck and you be more successful as you grow.
Thank you.